morning everybody. I am Dr. V. Rajasekaran. I am here to discuss about the topic on performance of transmission line. What is the need for transmission line? What is the performance? These are all the questions we need to answer. Before studying the performance of transmission line, we need to discuss about the structure of power system and its components. How the components are connected in the power system. Let me try to explain the structure of power system and its component with the help of single line diagram. Let me start with generator. It is connected to the bus bar. The generated power injected to the bus bar at the sending end, and the power is transported to the domestic end or load end with the help of transmission line. These are all the loads. At the receiving end, we need to supply power. Here we generate power, three-phase power at constant voltage. Vs stands for sending end voltage. Now here look at the configuration. We have three important components: generator, loads, and in between we have transmission line. Now you try to understand what do you mean by performance. Performance actually has two parameter considerations. One is efficiency of power transfer or efficiency of transmission line, and another one is voltage regulation. These two parameter considerations or performance consideration need to be answered in a very well manner. Before talking these two parameters or performance considerations, let me start with loads. Loads need to be supplied with constant voltage and steady power. Power at the receiving end, this area you can say as receiving end, RE. Where we generate power and export power, this area you can call it as sending end. So in between sending end and receiving end, we have transmission lines. At receiving end, we need to supply power at constant voltage, that is PR is received power at constant voltage VR. Here the loads are drawing current IR. So here these two parameters are very important to understand the received power. If you know VR and IR, these are all vector quantities. If you know both the values, you can easily get the receiving end power factor cos phi R. Actually, cos phi R is the cosine of angle between VR and IR. Now here, similarly, we can define the sending end parameters, that is sending end voltage, sending end current, and sending end power factor. So with the help of these parameters, you can define the sending end power PS. We generate power at constant voltage. We export power through transmission lines to the loads. This is a simple scenario. The sending end power to be transmitted to the loads without any loss. That is main consideration. And again, if you talk about power, efficiency plays a vital role. If you talk about voltage, the voltage should be obtained at the end without any drop, voltage drop. So voltage drop based on voltage regulation we can define. Based on efficiency we can define the power loss. Now what it is? Efficiency can be easily explained as receiving end power divided by sending end power. What is receiving end power? Receiving end power is PR, the sending end power is PS. We can obtain PR from VR, IR, cos phi R divided by with the quantities of voltage and current Vs, Is and cos phi S, it is for sending end power. Now this sending end power can be related with in terms of receiving end power and losses. That is VR, IR, cos phi R, Vs, VR, IR, cos phi R plus losses. Losses we can get it from I squared R. Now we can get all the values except R. So the losses can be obtained. Losses, it is actually because of transmission line parameters. Now once you want to understand the value of R, it can be very easy to understand the value of efficiency. Efficiency can be easily determined from the ratio of receiving end power and sending end power. Next, keeping this point in your mind, next we will discuss about regulation, voltage regulation. Voltage regulation is equal to Vs minus Vr divided by Vr into 100. That is, it is expressed in percentage. Now sending end voltage Vs minus receiving end voltage divided by receiving end voltage, that is Vs minus Vr can be easily understood as voltage drop. Voltage regulation is actually the voltage drop is expressed as a percentage of receiving end voltage. From that you can understand voltage drop should be minimum, and here efficiency must be maximum in order to get the better performance of transmission lines. These two parameter considerations are mainly for transmission lines. Right. Now how do you get maximum efficiency and better voltage regulation, that is minimal voltage regulations? These two parameter consideration, performance considerations, mainly depend on the three parameters. One is R, the resistance of transmission line. The second one is inductance of transmission line, and the third one is capacitance. That is, capacitance actually lies in between any one of the lines and the neutral or ground. Now here these two forming series impedance, that is you can get it from series resistance and inductive reactance. Z is equal to R plus JXL. This is called series impedance. Now here you can say for efficiency, that is for performance consideration, efficiency, you can say receiving end power divided by sending end power. Actually the sending end power can be expressed in terms of receiving end power and losses. That is receiving end power divided by receiving end power plus losses. The losses actually I squared R. So from the expression we can understand the efficiency mainly depends on the losses. Losses mainly depend on the resistance, one of the major parameter of transmission line. So this plays a vital role in determining the efficiency of transmission line. Next one is voltage regulation. Voltage regulation, you see here we generate power at steady voltage, that is sending end voltage. We deliver power at some other level of voltage VR. So in between we have transmission line. The transmission line has some voltage drop. The voltage drop is caused by all the three parameters R, L and C. So these three parameters define the values of voltage drops in the performance in the transmission lines. So here if you want to get better regulation, we need to minimize the voltage drop in the transmission line. That's why these two parameter performance considerations mainly depend on the major constraints or constants R, L and C. Okay, now we know how to obtain efficiency and voltage regulation. These two parameters are mainly depend on three major constants R, L and C. Right. Now suppose if you have series impedance, there won't be any problem in determining voltage drop. But actually we have a shunt capacitance. shunt capacitance, whenever you have shunt capacitance, it is somewhat tedious to understand the concept of voltage drop and to obtain the performance of transmission lines. Okay. Anyway, before going for the process of obtaining performance considerations, just how these parameters are concentrated in identifying these two parameters. Now, based on the length of transmission lines and the level of voltage at which they are operating, we can segregate or we can categorize the transmission lines. The transmission lines are named as short transmission lines, medium transmission lines, and long transmission lines. Short transmission lines, actually we classify these lines, the lines, the operating level of voltage is less than 20 kV and the kilometer range is less than 50 kilometer. That is, if the length of transmission line is less than 50 kilometers and if they are operating at the less than level of 20 kV, that transmission lines can be said as short transmission lines. Now, next one is medium transmission line. The length of transmission line lies in between 50 kilometer and 150 kilometers. The operating level of voltage lies in between 20 kV and 100 kV. So, if the length of transmission line lies in between 50 and 150 kilometers, the operating level of voltage lies in between 20 kV and 100 kV, these lines can be classified as medium transmission lines. The last one is long transmission lines. If the line length exceeds 150 kilometers and the operating level of voltage exceeds 100 kV, so we can call these lines are long transmission lines. Why we categorize these lines like this? Now, if you talk about short transmission lines, the effect of capacitance is minimal. Normally, we define and classify these lines based on the effect of capacitance. For short transmission lines at such voltages, if the length is less than 50 kilometers, the effect of capacitance is minimal. So, in order to find the performance considerations for short transmission lines, we can easily neglect the effect of capacitance, that for short transmission lines, but we should include the effect of R and L. Second one, for medium transmission lines, that they are working in between the level of voltages 20 and 150, 100, the length of transmission line is 50 and 150. For this kind of medium transmission lines, the effect of capacitance is moderate. So, we can consider the capacitance as lumped or concentrated in the medium transmission lines. So, you can model medium transmission line with the effect of moderate effect of capacitance. Let us see that later how we are going to model the transmission lines. But for long transmission lines, we should consider all the parameters as such. Actually, these parameters are uniformly distributed all over the length of transmission line. R, L and C, all these parameters are available and uniformly distributed all over the length of transmission line. Here, for short transmission lines, we are going to consider only R and L. C can be neglected. For medium transmission lines, we are going to consider all the three parameters as lumped parameters, but how we are going to localize the effect of capacitance, that is another matter. But for the long transmission lines, we should consider all the three parameters as such. That is, we need to consider all R, L and C. We need to consider the effect of capacitance as practically available in transmission lines. So after that you have to solve for the performance considerations. So knowing all these parameters, all these classifications, let me start one by one. For short transmission lines, how we are going to define the modeling of short transmission lines, how we are going to determine the performance considerations. Let me start with short transmission line, where we are going to eliminate the effect of capacitance. Now, actually, we are going to perform all the analysis. We are going to model the transmission lines as single phase circuit. That means we supply power from sending end to receiving end. In between we have transmission lines. Actually, the transmitted power is three phase power. Assuming all the loads are balanced, that is, the power system is operating under balanced condition. Assuming that, we are going to consider the model in single phase, and thereafter we are going to perform all the analysis, all the calculations based on per phase analysis. That will be easier. So considering the balanced power system, I am going to model a circuit for short transmission lines. As we discussed earlier, we have neglected the effect of capacitance. Just we are going to include the R parameter and L parameter. Now, it's a simple circuit model. It represents the short transmission line. Now, this short transmission line delivers power to the load. This part is sending end part. Sending end part has sending end voltage Vs. Now here we have a load. The load is supplied at the receiving end voltage Vr. So initially to start with, we have sending end voltage at sending end. We have a load at the receiving end, which is at receiving end voltage Vr. Now you see, in between we have a transmission line. This part is belonging to transmission line. Actually, as I said earlier, transmission line is uniformly distributed. All the parameters R, L and C, all the parameters are uniformly distributed all along the line. But here, instead of uniform distribution, we have considered R and L as a lumped parameters. Lumped parameter means concentrated parameters. That is, R is a lumped parameter for the transmission line, L is lumped parameter for the transmission line. Now here this is R and this one is L. From L you can determine easily the inductive reactance that is essential for AC transmission circuits. So from L you can easily calculate XL. Now this circuit model has go wire and return wire. So this circuit model forms a loop. The receiving end load receives a current of IR, that is current drawn by the load. Now here, as we have a closed circuit, sending end supplies a current of IS, sending end current. Now simply looking at the circuit model, we can easily categorize this circuit model as two-port network. That is, we have a port, two input variables and two output variables. Input variables are, that is, either you can say input variables are sending end parameters. Sending end parameters are Vs and Is. The receiving end parameters are VR and IR. Now you see, these sending end parameters can be easily written in terms of receiving end parameters. So in between we have a port. Two port means two input variables and two output variables. So 2-port network. Now all these four parameters can easily compared and correlated with the help of parameters A, B, C, D. These parameters are called as ABCD constants. How? That is, Vs can be written as A VR plus B IR. So Is can be related to receiving end parameters with the help of C and D parameters. C VR plus D IR. Now you see, look at the equation. Sending end voltage can be related to the receiving end parameters with the help of two constants A and B. Sending end current similarly can be related in terms of VR and IR receiving end parameters with the help of constants C and D. Right. Now what about these constants A, B, C, D? Here the constant A and D both are equal. A is equal to D, and you can say these A and D are constants. They are not variables, they are constants. Right. And what about B and C? When you look at B is actually has the unit of ohms, and similarly C has the unit of mho. So these are all the definition for the ABCD parameters. Now you can perform the calculations, you can understand the calculations, you can identify and determine the performance considerations with the help of these ABCD parameters or with the help of vector calculations or vectorial representations. Now both are easy, but we are going to analyze both the methods. Let me start with ABCD constants, and afterwards we will move on to vectorial representation of short transmission lines. So before carrying out this analysis, these calculations, these derivations, let me want to explain what is R, what is L again. Let me put it as R, the resistance per phase per kilometer. Actually this resistance is not for one wire, the resistance is for two wires, so you can call it as loop resistance. It is R ohms per kilometer per phase. Similarly, inductive reactance, XL is inductive reactance per kilometer per phase. We all know Vs sending end voltage, VR sending end current, VR sending end receiving end voltage, Is sending end current, IR receiving end current, and cos phi s sending end power factor, cos phi r receiving end power factor, Ps sending end power and Pr receiving end power. Now, so having these considerations in our mind, let us start the procedure for the analysis. Now let me start with the help of ABCD constants at first. So before going for any kind of analysis, let us try to understand the equations. Let us try to write the equations at first. That is, sending end voltage can be related in terms of receiving end parameters A plus A VR plus V IR. Similarly, IS is equal to C VR and D IR. The easiest part is to start with current equations. Now, we need to, if you want to find out IS, we need to solve what is C and what is D. Here look at the equation, IS is equal to CVR and DIR. Now, let us consider the equation first. Now, let us look at the circuit diagram. Let us try to solve what is IS and what is IR. Now, look at the figure. IS is a supply current. We have a series circuit. Series circuit is the combination of R and L. At the far end, we have a load. The load receives receiving current IR. Simply looking at the circuit, you can easily explain what is IS and what is IR. As we have a series circuit, as we don't have any shunt branches, the sending end current IS is straightly equal to IR. Therefore, we can straight away write it as IS is equal to IR. That means receiving end current is equal to sending end current. After finding this expression, you try to put this equation, write this equation, substitute in the IS equation. That is, say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Now try to substitute this equation 3 in equation 1. 3 in 1. So IS is equal to IR. Now, if you want to get equation like this, D must be 1. This first term must be 0. Therefore, from this understanding, you can easily get the values of C and D. And what is C? C is 0 and D is 1. So, you can easily find the constants of C and D. Now, let us move on to solve the equation number 1. How do you solve? The receiving end voltage is VR, the sending end voltage is Vs. In between, we have a series combination of R and L. When you talk about voltage, when you have series elements like this, the series elements R and L always cause voltage drop. So, because of current flow in this R and L parameters, you will get voltage drop because of current flow through the circuit, IR or IS is Z. Actually, Z is R plus J XL. XL is obtained from the inductance, that is XL is equal to 2 pi FL ohms, that everybody knows about it. Once you find the combination of R and JXL, once you know the value of receiving current, it is easy to obtain the drop across the impedance. This is the drop across, drop in series impedance is that right. Now, how do you find sending end voltage? Knowing the value of voltage drop. Here, look at the load voltage VR. The load voltage VR plus the drop in the transmission line will give you sending end voltage. Therefore, you can write it as Vs is equal to VR plus the drop across the impedance IR Z. Now, you compare both the equations, that is equation 4. You compare equation 1 and 4, then you understand A and B constants. Now, you check for equation 1 and 4. So, left hand side Vs we have, right hand side VR, the coefficient of VR is 1 therefore A is 1. So 1 multiplied by VR plus IR Z. IR we have, so Z IR, therefore Z is B and 1 is A. From here you can get the values of A and B. A is 1, B is Z. Now look at all the 4 constants. A is 1, B is 1, B is Z and C is Z. Okay, how do you know these constants or determined constants are right? How do you know? How do you check these expressions given right performance, right values? How do you check? These constants hold an identity. That means the identity is AD minus BC is equal to 1. That is, the product of AD minus the product of BC is equal to 1. This is an identity which satisfies, if it is satisfying the determined equations, everything is right, or otherwise we have made a mistake somewhere else. Now what is AD? A is 1, D is 1, B is Z, C is 0, 1 multiplied by 1 you will get 1, minus BC 0, 1 minus 0 you will get 1. So the identity is proved. This equation, this circuit model holds this identity exactly right. So from that, after knowing these values of constants, you can directly substitute the values in the equation. After substituting the values of A, B, C, D values in that equation 1 and 2, we can easily solve the voltage value of sending end, the current value of sending end. Once you know the values of sending end parameters, so the sending end parameters now can be written as VR plus ZIR. The sending end current is equal to receiving end current. So from these two equations we can easily obtain sending end parameters. After knowing these sending end parameters, once you understand the value of Vs and Is, then it can be easy to understand and determine the value of sending end power. Here always we can have the values of receiving end parameters. That is, for any kind of power system we can easily calculate, we can easily identify the values of receiving end parameters. That is, VR will be known, IR will be known. As VR available at the consumer end, we can easily get the values of VR, IR. If you know the values of VR and IR, it is very easy to understand and identify the value of receiving end power factor. Once you know all the 3 values, it is easy to identify the receiving end power. So the problem is identification of sending end power. So with the help of these parameter calculations, ABCD constants, now we have determined the values of receiving end parameters. Once you find the values of receiving end parameters, we can easily calculate sending end power also. So after finding, that is, let me start with receiving end power. Receiving end power is given as VR, IR, cos phi r. So after knowing these parameters, sending end power also can be easily understood. Vs, Is, cos phi s. After finding these parameters, that is receiving end power and sending end power, what is our aim? Our aim is to determine the performance considerations. First one is efficiency and the second one is voltage regulation. If you know the performance considerations of transmission lines, of any transmission lines, we can understand the concept of sending end power and receiving end power. Now, so after knowing these values, efficiency easily can be easily determined, that is receiving end power divided by sending end power, and percentage voltage regulation can be determined from voltage drop. As we know the value of Vs, already we got the value of VR also, So Vs minus Vr divided by Vr into 100. So from these two expressions we got all the values. Ps can be determined, Vs already we got the value from the equations. So once you know the values, it is easy to obtain the performance considerations. And this is the simplest method for short transmission lines, ABCD parameters. Now after knowing this ABCD constant method, let me try to discuss about the vectorial representation, which is most powerful for any method of identifying performance of transmission lines. Since all the parameters involved in any power system, all the parameters, all the values involved in power system components are all vector quantities, not scalar quantities. So whenever you involve vector quantities, sometimes the approach of ABCD constant will lead to some problems, may provide some error. In order to avoid that error and in order to get exact solutions from any kind of analysis, especially for performance of transmission lines, we can do the analysis with the help of vectorial representations. Vectorial representation means involving all the vector quantities of the parameters, sending end parameters and receiving end parameters. As I told earlier, sending end parameters are Vs and Is. Simply we can say sending end voltage and receiving sending end current. The receiving end parameters are receiving end voltage and receiving end current. Okay. How we are going to relate these parameters with the help of vectorial representation? To construct any vector representation, to construct any vectorial presentation, we need to have reference vector. Reference vector may be from, you can consider Vs as reference vector, or you can consider Is as reference vector. It may be selected from the receiving end parameters also. Vr can be easily selected as reference vector, or Ir also can be selected as reference vector. So out of available 4 parameter values, always I would like to advise selecting Vr is the best method. Selecting Vr as reference vector is the best way to approach vectorial representation methods. Now, keeping in that mind, let me try to select Vr as reference vector. That means, so starting from an origin O, reference vector Vr. So for our vectorial representation, we have selected Vr as reference vector for the process. That means side by side we can try to understand what is Vr and what is vector quantity. So Vr is Vr vector, that means Vr at an angle of 0 degree. Vr is scalar value, magnitude at an angle of 0. This is a major advantage of having a reference vector, having Vr as reference vector. So this is the value of Vr as we have taken consider as reference vector. No, the angle is 0. Once you plotted the vector of Vr, then we need to plot the other vectors with respect to the receiving end voltage. Whenever you want to construct the receiving end, the vectorial presentation, always you start from right to left, not from left to right. Now here we have considered Vr as reference vector. Okay. Next quantity to be drawn, IR. So we need to plot the vector for IR. How do you plot vector for IR? IR is the current that is drawn by the load. Always IR is lagging by an angle of IR. So we have two vector quantities at the receiving end. One is Vr and another one is IR. Actually, IR is the load current or receiving end current, which is lagging VR by an angle phi r. That is, we have two quantities VR and IR. From these two quantities, you can get the value of receiving end power factor cos phi r. That means the angle between VR and IR is phi r. So to construct the vector of IR, we need to understand what is phi r. We need to get the value of phi r. Once you know the value of cos phi r, receiving end power factor, it is very easy to obtain the value of phi r. So from cos phi r, we can collect the value of phi r, cos inverse phi r. Phi r is actually angle in degrees, that is, IR is the vector which is lagging by an angle of phi r. So having these two set of values, we can easily construct the vector for IR. So IR can be drawn, that is, IR is the current vector lagging VR. So this vector is IR and lagging by an angle of phi r. Now what is IR? IR vector is IR at an angle of phi r. Here not plus, minus indicates lagging. So IR lagging by an angle of phi r. Now for this simple short transmission line, we have plotted two vectors. That two vectors are from receiving end VR and IR. After plotting that two vectors, we need to construct the vectors for receiving end, vectors for VS and IS. Right. Now how do you, next vector to be drawn, I said already, start from right to left. We have plotted vector VR, we have plotted vector for IR, and we need to plot the vector for IS. Then finally we need to plot the vector for VS. Now how do you plot IS vector? Looking at the circuit, keeping the circuit is very simple in our mind. You see, we don't have shunt branches, we don't have shunt paths. That matter is also discussed already. Now the receiving end current IR is simply as equal as IS, sending end current. So as already we have drawn the vector for IS, you can equate the vector to sending end current vector. Now simply we can say, for any short transmission lines, if you neglect shunt capacitance, if you neglect the effect of shunt capacitance, you can straight away say the receiving end current is equal to sending end current. Now sending end vector is equal to receiving end vector. So no need to plot any other vector for IS. IS vector is equal to IR. Next vector, we need to plot sending end voltage vector. Here we need to, we have some problem in drawing the vector for sending end voltage, since other vectors also involving, right. Look at the circuit again. We have the vector. After plotting the vector for VR, we have sending end voltage. In between we have voltage drop. This is also voltage, and that voltage involves with series impedance. That is, because of R and L parameters, we have got the voltage drop IRZ. This can be written as IRZ or ISZ. Both are equal. Since IR and IS both are equal, we can write it as IRZ or ISZ. So in order to plot the vector for VS, we need to plot the vector for voltage drop. If you plot the vector for voltage drop, then you can plot the vector for sending end voltage. Now here I would like to say one point, and this one is voltage vector, this one is current vector. Always draw the current vectors, always combine the current vectors together, and always combine the voltage vectors together. That is the more important point, right. Now how do you plot the voltage drop vector. The voltage drop comprises of two voltage drops. One is mainly because of resistance and another one is because of inductive reactance. So here the IR is at voltage drop vector has two components, IR R plus J IR XL. The impedance, series impedance voltage drop comprises of two components, two parts. This one is resistive voltage drop, mainly because of resistance of transmission line, and the second part is inductive voltage drop, inductive reactive voltage drop, mainly because of inductance of transmission line. Now these two voltage drops have different property. So when we plot these two vectors, we need to be careful. First, we try to plot the resistive voltage drop vector. The resistance, voltage drop in resistance has a property, that means the voltage drop always in phase with IR. That means, you see, if you want to plot the voltage drop for IRR, the voltage drop, resistive voltage drop always in phase with current, or otherwise you can say, in other words, the current flows through the resistance always in phase with the voltage drop across that resistance, both the same. Now I want to plot the resistive drop. I said the resistive drop is in phase with IR. In phase means we need to plot here, that is in phase. But here I said we shouldn't combine current vector and voltage vector. The drop vector is voltage vector obviously. So we should not combine one voltage vector and one current vector. Always we need to combine voltage vectors together, current vectors separately together. So we need to plot this vector, we need to combine the resistive voltage drop here. That means the resistive voltage drop IRR can be plotted like this. So resistive drop in phase with, look at the two vectors, IR is in phase with voltage drop across the resistance, or otherwise the voltage drop across the resistance in phase with IR. So keeping that rule in our mind, we have plotted the resistive drop across the resistance, and moreover we have combined the resistive drop with reference voltage vector VR. So voltage vectors are combined together. After plotting this resistive drop vector, we need to plot the vector for inductive drop. Inductance always has a property, the current flows through the inductance always lagging voltage by an angle of 90 degree, or otherwise you can say, in other words, the voltage drop across the inductance always lead current by an angle of 90 degree. Now keeping in that mind, we can plot the inductive voltage drop as like this. This vector is for IR XL, inductive voltage drop vector. That means, you see, inductive voltage drop vector leads by an angle of 90 degree. The angle between these two vector 90 degree. Similarly, actually the vector, if you extrapolate that vector, it will be like this. But we shouldn't combine voltage vector and current vector. That's why we have combined voltage vectors. So IRR in phase with IR, that's why the angle is 90 degree in between these two vectors. So inductive drop vector leads current IR by an angle of 90 degree. We have plotted two different vectors, resistive drop vector and inductive drop vector. Now look at the equation. the combination of these two vectors will give you the drop across the impedance, series impedance. Right. Now, if you find the vectorial sum of these two vectors, you will get the voltage drop across the impedance. Simply you connect these two vectors, you will get the drop across the impedance. Now, after connecting these two vectors, after combining these two vectors, the vectorial sum will give you the drop across the series impedance IRZ. As we discussed earlier, actually the sending end voltage is the combination of receiving end vector voltage and the voltage drop across the series impedance. Now we have two vectors, one is for VR, we obtained another vector from the voltage drop vectors IRR and IRXL, that resultant vector is IRZ. So when you combine these two vectors, simply you can get the value of the vector of Vs. Now you combine these two vectors, that vector represents Vs. Now Vs is the combination, vectorial combination of reference voltage VR and IRZ. Voltage drop across the series impedance and voltage across the load VR will give you the sending end voltage Vs. Now look at the vectors, we obtained Vs, we obtained Is, both are sending end parameters. So from these two parameters, we can easily determine sending end power, sending end voltage drop, etc., etc. Now you see, in order to find the sending end power, we need to know the value of sending end power factor. How do you find sending end power factor? We have the vectors sending end voltage vector and sending end current vector. Now we have the angle difference of phi r between receiving end current and IR, that is phi r. Now you can say the angle between Vs and IR can be said as alpha. I said the power factor angle is actually the angle in between voltage and current. If you want to find out sending end voltage, sending end power factor angle, we need to know the value of angle value of sending end voltage and sending end current. So if you look at the vector, you can easily determine the angle phi r and alpha. If you combine these two values, you will get sending end power factor angle phi s. So phi s can be easily determined from the sum of receiving end power factor angle and the alpha. Alpha is the angle between Vs and Vr. So if you add these two values, you will get simply the sending end power factor angle. If you know the value of sending end power factor angle, we can calculate the sending end power factor cos phi s. Now, so from these quantities Vs, Is and cos phi s, we can easily obtain the efficiency. That is, efficiency is receiving end power divided by sending end power, that is Vr, Ir cos phi r divided by Vs, Is cos phi s. So these three values easily obtained from the vectorial representation. Similarly, for voltage regulation, we know the value of sending end voltage, we know the value of receiving end voltage, and the voltage drop can be obtained from Vs minus Vr. This voltage drop can be expressed as a percentage of receiving end voltage, so we can easily calculate voltage regulation. So this is the way to find the performance considerations for short transmission lines. That's all about short transmission lines. Next we will move on to medium transmission lines, how we are going to perform all the analysis and how we are going to determine efficiency, voltage regulations. Let us see one by one. Determining performance considerations for short transmission lines are very easier, but if you talk about medium transmission lines and if you talk about long transmission lines, somewhat tedious to understand the analysis and to understand the calculations. let me briefly explain the process involved in determining the performance considerations for medium transmission lines. If you consider medium transmission lines, actually we need to consider the effect of capacitance for medium transmission lines to obtain the performance values, efficiency and voltage regulations. Therefore, actually the effect of capacitance for medium transmission line is moderate. Unlike long transmission lines, we need to consider the effect of capacitance in the moderate sense. There are three different methods to obtain the performance considerations for medium transmission lines. That is based on the localization and based on the concentration of capacitance. We have three different methods. Starting from N condenser method, from the name itself you can understand the whole value of capacitance is lumped at the end of receiving end. That is the effect of capacitance modeled as shunt capacitance, that is connected in parallel with the load. That method is for N condenser method. This method actually yields error in most of the results. Therefore, power system engineers will not rely on N condenser method. So, keeping apart, we have some other important methods in medium transmission lines. One is nominal pi method and another one is nominal T method. In case of nominal T method, we divide the lumped capacitance into two parts. We place one capacitance across the load and another part of capacitance will be shunted across the sending end. So, the circuit model will look like a nominal pi, therefore it is called as nominal pi method. Here the effect of capacitance has been divided into two parts. This method somewhat provide moderately good results in obtaining efficiency and percentage regulation, voltage regulation. The third one is, in case of medium transmission line, nominal T method. So far we have not divided any series transmission line parameters. Here we are going to keep the effect of capacitance as such, as lumped one, and we are going to localize the capacitance at the center of the line, and the series impedance is divided into two parts. One part is available at the sending end and the other part is available at the receiving end. So, at the middle of the transmission line we are going to localize the effect of capacitance. Now, the circuit looks like nominal T method. This method is also providing moderately better results in case of medium transmission lines performance. Now, apart from short transmission line and medium transmission line, the last one is long transmission line. That long transmission lines are operating very high level voltages. The length of transmission lines is also very high. For this kind of long transmission lines, we need to consider the R, L, C parameters as such. We need to distribute uniformly all along the line, and we need to draw a model how the lines are available in practical. We need to keep the circuit model as such, and we need to perform the analysis. Here we have some kind of rigorous methods to obtain the performance considerations of long transmission lines. If you apply the methods that involved in medium transmission lines, nominal T or nominal pi for long transmission lines, no, that methods will not yield better results in case of long transmission lines. So far we discussed the structure of power system and the performance of transmission lines, performance of short transmission lines we discussed. In the next presentation, I will meet you with the presentation of medium transmission lines and long transmission lines. Thank you.